and I can't talk too much about it other than what's been already reported. But for anybody who's interested, my son, 25 years old, was getting out of a car at his own house, going to his front door when 2 undercover DEA agents followed a U-Haul truck into his neighborhood and decided they were going to do a walk and talk. And for anybody, I don't care if you're 1A or whatever, there was no legal reason for a traffic stop. He had not, this U-Haul truck had not violated the law. They just saw what they thought might be a hand-to-hand drug sale because the guy driving the U-Haul stood in a doorway of an apartment. Let that sink in for a minute. He was standing in a doorway of an apartment and he got in this rented U-Haul truck and drove off. And they followed him to my son's neighborhood. My son was getting out of his friend's car, going to his front door, when an undercover agent yelled, "Hey, I need to talk to you." My son turned around and came back because he complied. Had he not complied, my son would be alive. If he would have just gone into his front door, he would be alive today. But he came back and he stood in front of this officer with his hands behind his back. And the officer said, "I need to see your hands. I don't know if you're armed." Now understand, this man is in plain clothes, had not identified himself. According to the 4 eyewitnesses, 4 of them. And my son turned his wrist upward, palms up, put his wrists together, arms out in front of him and said, "Yes, sir, I do carry. It's in my front right waistband. Please remove it for my safety and yours." And this officer grabbed his wrist, had control of him, and screamed, "Gun, gun, gun." While the other officer came running and put his arms from behind, put his arms around Caleb, and they fell backward. And as my son was getting up off of him, the first officer tased him. And when that wasn't enough, he put the gun to his head and he shot 3 times at point blank range.